If the bad stuff leaves, so be it. If it doesn't, we don't know. You know, I don't train my students to focus on that. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
It doesn't. I can't really imagine why you need a pendulum. Like, where does that fit in?
It doesn't fit into the class at all.
Oh,
It's
okay.
only my, it has nothing to do with the Seraphim Blueprint.
Okay.
It's only how I became psychic and how I was able to communicate with this angel. Not requirement at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want to get clear about the entity thing, because is it, if you're putting in this really powerful healing energy, is it likely, or is it, you know, there's a strong likelihood, it seems to me, that the entities would either dissolve or they'd leave.
Right.
And so your whole thing is that you just don't put attention on that.
That's right.
You just bring in more light.
Right.
Or more of that
Right.
energy.
Well, most of the people, yes. In other words, she's asking me how important, or does, for instance, the Seraphim healing energies flush out, you know, entities automatically? Oh, yes. This is the first class actually that ever raised that issue. You know, in other words, because you probably know more about this healing than a lot of people, but this first class that really raises this issue. I've talked about this kind of thing during the class or during the workshop, but I am very well trained in removing entities of all kinds from human beings. I have been trained for many lifetimes, I think, not just this lifetime. I was probably a shaman in a past life. But to start dealing with such powerful beings is not what I expect of beginning students of Seraphim healing, okay? That comes with other kind of training, you know? It comes with additional training other than the Seraphim Blueprint. I do teach a little bit of that, but that's very advanced stuff. It's very hard to identify other beings. You have to be quite psychic. And the Seraphim Blueprint does not require that you be psychic. Okay? So you're simply putting good stuff in, and very frequently I think these entities do disappear somehow.
Well, my understanding is just that, you know, the angels will take care of the entities, especially Archangel Michael is designed to take them where they need to go.
Yeah, she's saying that Archangel Michael will take care of, and you know, you can certainly use prayer and connect with whatever angels you're used to working with. This does not put them out of business, you know. They still have a job to do. Yeah.
Would you also say that when you're doing healing work using the Seraphim Blueprint, that you are would it be fair to say or describe it in such a way that you become a conduit for that energy? Or is it like what you did here was, you said you're not the conduit, the energy just comes into you.
Directly,
so
yeah.
how does that actually work? Are you a conduit, or are you just facilitating, really, someone else's connection to that angel?
No. You are storing the energy in your body. So the question, to repeat the question, is, are you a conduit for external angels when you're working on healing someone?
Right.
Or are you doing something else? And what I want to say is, you are not a conduit normally. However, you might have previous connection to powerful angels that want to assist you at the time. You are holding or storing the energy in the Seraphim healing energies in your body like a battery. You know, that's, but it's kind of stored. All right? Now, if you might also get additional help when you actually start working, because you may have other connections unrelated to Seraphim healing, you know? And they might say, hey, we're going to help too, you know? And they might start coming, and you might be connecting to them at the time. I think that's clear, isn't it? Yes?
I thought Seraphim and Cherubim had to do with music.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I mean, the question is, do Seraphim and Cherubim have to do with music? In the Old Testament, the description of Isaiah in the Old Testament, where the words cherubim and seraphim first appeared, Isaiah says that the seraphim sat at the throne of God, and that they had 6 wings, and they were constantly singing the praises of the Lord. So that's the description in the Old Testament. So that's where you get the singing, music connection. So far I haven't heard him sing to me.
There are a lot of hymns that also talk of cherubim and seraphim on high. So.
Yeah, they are supposed to be the highest order of angels. They're the only two orders mentioned in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, or I don't know if it's the New Testament or just a Christian elaboration, there are 7 more orders of angels. But the Christians still put the seraphim highest, cherubim next highest. My understanding from what the Seraphist told me is that his job is to keep everything moving like clockwork, the galaxy basically, the oceans, the planets. He hasn't told me anything about singing so far. But it's a good question. Thank you for the question. Yes?
And in the Bible, Paul talks about the 9 orders of angels, and seraphim's the highest.
Yes.
Talks about angels, archangels, thrones, principalities, kingdoms,
Dominions.
dominions.
Yeah,
Cherubim.
thrones, cherubim, seraphim, something like that. I don't have it quite memorized yet myself. I keep forgetting the exact order of things. But yeah, it's quite interesting. You see, during the time that Christ lived, the Jewish